sucker punched in the gut this morning. And yeah, I'll start mine too. So I thought that we would do this for a couple of reasons, because I'm pretty much I'm in shock. I know Brent's in shock and Carl is. I thought that it would be therapeutic of us all to meet and talk. And at the same time, we could all say, you don't have to, if you don't have anything to say, it's fine. But we could say something nice about how Stephen positively changed your life. And we're recording this so that when we're all done, we will send this to his family. So just opening it up for the preliminary discussion right now. And, you know, if anybody has anything to say, feel free, but we won't start the positive discussion just yet. So like I said, it was very surprising to me. I didn't feel this coming. I didn't see this coming. And it was very, very much a shock this morning. How are you all doing? If anyone wants to say anything, feel free. I see a lot of sad faces, and you don't have to say anything if you don't want to. That's fine. But I'll just give you a chance to speak up if you want to say something. Okay.
So, John, I just want to say thank you for organizing this. This is an opportunity for all of us to come to some kind of closure with this. This is, like you said, it's just, it's, like been a side wind blowing us all over. So, anyway, thank you very much for doing this.
I appreciate that, Kathleen. And this was a collaborative effort. I was talking about it with Carl and Brent today, and I just came up with the idea that we would do this in the VIP club practice group meeting, and then it changed to just doing a dedicated memorial for him. So yeah, I appreciate that.
So when I met Stephen, it's the Awakening Dynamic. First, I want to say that I feel like Awakening Dynamics has lost its prince. But he was definitely like a catalyst. He was a prince to me of Awakening Dynamic. But when I really, really brought into it is when I had made an appointment with a session, and he says, something's going on with your knee. I was like, oh yeah, but I didn't come there for my knee. I was like, yeah, but my left knee is bothering me, things of that nature, right? So we going on with the session, right? So near the middle of the session, he's like, how's your knee? I was like, which knee you talking about? He's like, your left knee. I was like, oh, that's like, I ain't gonna curse here. But I was like, oh, I was very excited. I said, the pain is going from my knee. It's going from my knee, right? And I haven't had any pain, any challenges with the knee since then. Steve was one of those, he was like the catalyst of the Tuesday group that would like hear me out, hear us out, and have a way of sharing the information without talking at me or talking at us. And I really appreciate that about him. He's very patient, and he was the Awakening Dynamics, prince to me. I got many stories with Steve, but that was the one that really that was like when I was in level 1, and that really helped me to like really start paying attention to what he was telling me about Awakening Dynamic and using that modalities, to connect with my high divine self. And he would definitely truly be missed. I know we all in shock. I'm definitely in shock. It's devastating. Yeah. So I'll pass for now.
Thank you, Melvin. And if you have another story that you want to share, feel free.
I certainly have a lot of things to say about my friend Steve. It was very, very upsetting for me this morning to get that message at 6:30 a.m. I have a lot of great Steve stories, as you guys know. We did the Sunday class together. We did the 1.5 together, the 2.5. And I was telling some people today that Prince is a great name for him because he was a man amongst men. He came out to California and we visited and we went to the beach and he took off his shirt and he looked like maybe this expression is antiquated, but a brick shit house, which is an old expression from the 70s. I mean, he was just buff. And I'm like, how old are you again? And at the time, he was 74 years old. And I was like, holy cow. Because you don't really notice, just because you see his head, that when he was just really put together. And I will always remember that. And I remember doing, we used to do exchanges all the time. And he did some pretty magical work on me. Worked on my neck, worked on my shoulder. I always seem to have a different story. So he was able to, work through some of those stories. I will miss him, and miss him. And I don't know what I'm going to do about the Sundays. I don't know if I'm going to do the 1.5s, the 2.5s, because we were, I don't want to say we were Batman and Robin, but we were a team. And it's very upsetting that he's gone. I expected him to be down for a few months, but didn't expect this.
Any stories to share? Any positive memories that you remember off the top of your head, John Kadajar?
As I said, I remember the beach, and I remember his, just he would love to chat. He would love to start a meeting early. Like I was getting on, I was like, oh, I got to get on early. Steve always would be on early, and that was one of his shticks. When I first started working with him, I was like, stop the rambling, stop the rambling. And then it got to the point where there was acceptance and I enjoyed the rambling and I enjoyed his kind disposition, his uncular attitude. Uh, really can't say a bad thing about the guy. Very positive. Was very supportive of what we did together and was extremely positive too. He wasn't really, even when things went sideways, he didn't really throw a negative bone. So he'll be missed. He's one of the good ones.
I can share a fond memory I had recently. This isn't too long ago. I'm going to say 3 months ago. It was a Tuesday night practice group, and it was a particularly great session. Everybody had a lot of good things happen, and Steve had been talking a lot, and I think he'd like to start with the subject or something. And then at the end, he just stopped, and there was a pause, and you could tell he was choking up, and it was because he was telling us how much he loved us and this community and what it meant to him, and that this was what he was living for. He really felt this was his purpose in life, and a big part of it. And it was even in the relatively short time that I knew him, in 4 years, I watched a huge transition of him being John will attest to this. At first, when we were doing the 1.5 and stuff like that, he was kind of not good at teaching. And then by the end, boy, he was like, I'll get this. And he was all over it. But that one moment with him sharing and choking up really got to me. And that's for all of us here, everybody. He really meant that. And now
I'd like to interject. I didn't realize I was muted. So when you asked me, did I have anything else to add? I said that I don't know if I would do the 1.5 or the 2.5 again, that he truly was a prince, that he never really had a negative word to say. And even with adversity, he was a cool cat. I mean, he was a military guy, but he was a cool cat and very positive, very understanding. It was said that he didn't talk down to people. He didn't. He just straight from the heart came across. One of my earlier memories of him was Steve and I were at one of the first call Brent ventures. And to say that he and I got beat up would be an understatement. Carl really dug into both of us for our bullshit. And we both looked at each other and said, well, that could have went better. And we kind of laughed about it. And that was one of my earlier memories and bonding with him. And, we Miranded back and forth. Uh, as I said, we practiced together, and he was really a gifted healer. A lot of people, I talk about can do the system, uh, paint by color, and then there's people that can do the system, paint by color, and are intuitive. He had both. He could be on with his intuition, or he could follow the formula. It didn't matter. He was pretty gifted, and so it was really a pleasure to work with him, and to say I was in business with him is a little bit of a stretch, but to have that little venture that we did together, I will have fond memories of that for a long time. Thank you. Now I'll mute.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in. Gallery wrote in the chat, and I will read this on her behalf. So it says, Steve was one of the finest souls I have ever met. He was kind, gentle, and was one of my gurus I respect a lot. His presence itself brought so much peace and healing. My husband was going through shoulder pain from a few years. He tried everything, but it wouldn't go away. It took me some convincing for him to agree to go for a session with Steve. In the third session, Steve managed to heal his pain for good. My husband keeps remembering this for what he did for him and the kind of human Steve was. This is a huge loss for us all. I pray that his family and friends find the strength to heal from the grief. The void that Steve has left cannot be filled. He will be fondly remembered for the rest of our lives. Whomever he touched, even in a small way. Thank you. And thank you for that, Cowrie. So I will just go on to say my interaction with Steve was I looked at him. I was always impressed how he would be on early on Tuesdays, and that his favorite part was the chatting with the new students on a 80 level weekend, and or on Tuesdays before it starts. He was always making sure that he was there 30 minutes before. Sometimes he would he would be there, and I found that one of the things that I really appreciated about him was his genuine sincerity for wanting to help people heal. He really cared about the people that he worked with and wanted them to get better. And that was the most positive quality that I could say about him, was that selflessness, if you will, that he would constantly give that of himself. So and then his time with Stephen, and how he would be just trying to get as much information out, learn as much as he can and get as much information out as he could, just to share the knowledge, just to give the gift of healing out there. So I really I admire that of him, and in my own way do my best to emulate that. So that's my share for that.
I was lucky enough to meet him for a year ago at the Live Room in Las Vegas. It was January a year ago, and I joined Awakening Dynamics community back in the summer of 2022, and it was great to meet him in person. I loved listening to him speak. I loved listening to his voice. Was almost sort of hypnotic to me, and soothing, and I always felt very peaceful. But my big share is that it was during one of the breaks during the Live Room session. I ran over to him real quick because you know how it is when you in 0.5 seconds that someone else is already going to be talking to them, and
We can't hear you.
you can't hear me.
We lost you at 0.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Now we lost you again.
You're cutting in and out. I'm sorry.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so to that end, I would go back. That's the one time I've actually met Stephen in person was last year at the in-person 80 level 1. And it was nice to meet him. And one of the things that he said to me was that that he was glad to have me as a friend, and I was really glad to have him as a friend because he was such a good person. So thank you for reminding me of that we had that interaction. So if anyone would like to say anything, feel free to click the raise hand and I will call on you one by one. If not, you know, we can I can call on people randomly. If you don't have anything to say, you can just shake your head no, and that's fine. This is a tough time, so. All right. Nicola, you are up first, so feel free to go ahead.
I wanted to share, I know Steve from our Sunday movement class, and I just noticed that it became part of my life. Like last Sunday, I was like bummed that we couldn't do it, and I realized now that on Sunday I was like, oh, but soon we're gonna do it again, because it was like a family coming together, and Steve was such a big part of it because he was like in his quirkiness, he was so diligent of doing it all, and clearing your 10,000 past lives, and you couldn't follow all the, or at least I couldn't follow all the numbers, but it was just with so much love and so much depth and so much diligence again, that I really will miss that. That was like a little party every Sunday, and I really want to thank him for that. He really contributed to my life in that way.
So Suzanne, did you say you would like to go up?
Yes, thank you. I've been working with Steve. I met him through Awakening Dynamics and classes at the same time. But I worked with Steve privately for almost a year now, and he has done a lot for me and my family. But my mom, I have to tell you, my mom worked with him a few months. I don't remember how long. And she got to where she called him Dr. Steve. And we just kind of giggle at that. She says, he's so much better than going to a doctor. He just really gets in there and he just cleans so much up. It's so fast. And I haven't even told her yet. She's 90 and I still have to call her. But she definitely, and we all loved him. It was such a shock here. But I just thought it was cute because that's what she refers to him as, is Dr. Steve. I just want to share that.
Okay, thank you. Jude, you can go next.
Oh gosh, I didn't know Steve very long, but he had a profound impact. He was so kind and generous and encouraging as a teacher and mentor. I'm sad that I won't get the one-on-one with him. That was supposed to be when he came back from surgery. Very sad about that. And also that we'll never get to see the modality that he was developing. You know, He sprinkled a lot of magic fairy dust in my life in very limited interactions. And I'm really grateful that I got to meet him. So I can't imagine how you're all feeling who all knew him a lot longer.
Thank you for that, Jude. Martina, you're up next.
So Steve to me is the personification of a fine and gentle soul, like the most noble spirit. And I regret that I've never met him in person. But I feel like I knew him. I knew his spirit. I knew his soul. Like he showed it all. So I really feel I knew him, and everything that was said before, I of course share. One more thing that's personal. He was kind of a serious guy, which which gave me a lot of comfort, because I'm also a very serious person. I always get, trouble that I'm not funnier, or, that I stay serious. And Stephen was kind of serious, and he made it okay for me. Like, oh, look at this gentle, noble person, and he's serious too, and it's okay. You can't just be who you are, and it's okay. And then I also wanted to share what happened today, because I was like probably all of you. It wouldn't leave my mind when I heard about it this morning, and I thought of him all day. And I'm in Mexico right now, and so I wondered if I could get a sign that he's like in heaven, that he's still staying connected to all of us. So I asked for a sign, and of course my ego immediately said, who am I to get a sign from Stephen, who I've never even met in person, right? But then I heard loud and clear, it's going to be a bird. And I'm like, really, Stephen? Like a bird? Like, I'm in tropical paradise. Like, I'm bound to see good birds today, right? Like, I will just question that. But it kept being a bird. And then I found this church, and the most beautiful church I've ever seen. I walk into the church, the whole church is covered in bird. It actually turned out wallpaper, but it looks like murals. The whole church, every inch of the church is covered in birds, tropical birds. Beautiful. I took a video that I sent to Carl and John. I just got back, so I didn't get chance to send it earlier. So I got many birds in the church. I sat down in the church, and it just felt right. I prayed for Stephen's family and his wife, and it just felt wonderful. It was wonderful. And I walk out of the church, and there's this plaque says Steve, and something like I forgot. I took a picture. I don't even know what it said, but it said something Steve, and then like some memorial thing. And then I also saw a peacock, which is kind of a special bird. And then I saw a lot of pelicans on the beach, like hundreds, thousands, that played and had the grandest time playing in the turf. So that was wonderful. And I felt, okay, like Steve, you really made good on your like sign with the birds. Like, I got it. Thank you. Like, like even I got a sign, and I feel like it's for all of us. So if you're willing to share the video, John or Carl, I sent a couple of pictures, but the video really shows the church, like how many birds there are all around.
John,
You sent it to me or the other John, or Carl? Do you have it?
hold on, I'm looking for it.
Okay. You can send it to me. I'll pull it up and share the video. But in the meantime, I will move on to Linda And if you got it before then, Carl, just let me know.
Yeah, I didn't. Did you text it, Martina, or did you send it in Facebook or something like that?
I sent it per email, like
Oh, email. Okay.
the minute we started, and I may not have enough data or Wi-Fi.
Okay, let me go find that.
If
And
if
I'll
you didn't
forward
go
that on to John, because I can't co-host. So I'll send it to John real quick. Give me a second.
Something with a Zoom setting. I probably never set up co-host, but okay, Linda, you are up next. Go ahead.
I never met Steve in person, but I still felt like he was a friend over Zoom because I spent quite a bit of time with classes, and I know with his time with Steve, he put so much work into researching the topics, and it was always so interesting, to hear what he had to say. He was very intelligent person, very intuitive. I know he helped me, the things that I learned from him, and in one specific thing that he helped me with. And I'm just really grateful that I got to know him as much as I did. And I'm certainly sorry that he won't be with us any longer, but he will in spirit, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Sandra, you are up next.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, of course, I reflect everything that everybody already said about him being a wonderful, kind spirit and healer. But the one thing that just makes me giggle when I remember, he was such an organized person. I worked one-on-one with him a bunch over the past couple of years, and he had these files, and even if like for a few weeks I dropped off the schedule and came back, he'd always like knew exactly what we talked about, and he had such meticulous notes. And yet, whenever we were trying to schedule, we got messed up with the time zones every single time. It always took us like 3 emails to confirm when we were exactly meeting. And it just made me giggle. I was thinking about something funny because I'm sad, like we all are, and so maybe that could lighten our hearts a little bit. And I want to say, and Martina just hit on that, I always felt safe talking to him because he felt like a friend. He was so approachable, and he showed himself in the healing sessions without it being like a boundary violation. And I think he still carried himself and was in his space as a healer, but he was able to allow you to be in his space and to be open and approachable in a way that made him feel like, like a friend that you would like call up in the evening and just share your day. So I'm gonna miss him a lot.
Thank you. So just a couple things in the chat. I see from Kathy Ike, she started the my recording. Much love to Steve's family. He'll be sorely missed to us all. My deepest condolences to you. If you want me to read these, just put a little blip that you want me to read them. Otherwise, I will read them when I can. Gail, I'll read yours here. It says, Steve will be missed. My condolences to his family and everyone at Awakening Dynamics. He was such a nice, smart, kind man and a great healer. Thank you for having this closing for us all. Hello, Maury. Nice
hello.
You've got the floor.
Well, firstly, thank you for doing this memorial forum. It was quite a shock to hear, Steve had passed away. I go back with Steve to when they first started the practice group. So I don't remember how long ago, but, some of the people who were there when it first started, Steve Kudajar, Kathy Taylor, and Brian came in a little bit after as well. And, Steve was an amazing guy. I don't know if everybody knows he's also a pastor, which would explain his sort of his demeanor. So it was really recently that I came across that, I said, you are a pastor? That just explains so much of who he was. He had that other element there that I didn't even realize. Fantastic guy, great healer. He had, did the awakening dynamic stuff, but he had his own take on everything. He brought in the emotion code to it. He had this incredible intuitive ability that he could just draw upon and just do his own thing, bing, bang, boom. I love the guy. Steve was amazing. I'm going to miss him terribly. Everybody who was there probably will. And maybe I'll try to, this is a reason for me to maybe come into your group and get more involved again, because it's been a while. But yeah, I don't know much more I can say about Steve. Everybody's saying great things. He was just a fantastic guy, a sweet guy, a loving person, a healer, and just by nature, that was his goal in life, to help people and do things. I'm just laughing at person just before saying how he was so organized. It's his military background. He's bing, bang, bing, bang, bing, bang, boom, except obviously for time zones. So anyhow, love to Steve, love to everybody there.
Thanks, Maury. All right, so Angela agrees with the comment before. When you entered the room on Zoom, he was there. You always felt safe. He had an extraordinary safe presence about him. Let's see. Ada says, I'm sad I didn't meet such a wonderful human being. Nonetheless, I felt the need to be here and witness and participate with what is becoming my tribe. Thanks, Ada. And Joy says, Steve had this incredible kindness and directness. Okay. Well, that's what we've got for the hands. Oh, here's Melvin's back. Okay. I just looked up a moment ago and I didn't see any hands. And so Melvin is here. So you're up, Melvin. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell another story. It's in the beginning, level 1, and we paired up. And I don't see the person here. I forget his name that we paired up with. And so we're working on each other, and I can't work on him. It's like something's blocking. And come back to the group, and like Steve, there's something, it was Steve and someone else says, I can't really connect with this guy. There's something around him, something in his presence. So Steve, he picked up his little child. He said, "Oh, there's a spirit in the room," and he needs to be led to the light. So Steve did what he did, led the spirit to the light, and then the guy and I was able to work with each other. And it was, and like when him and John worked together on Sundays, John be doing his thing in the forefront working with us. Steve be in the background. And then John would say, Steve, what do you got? Oh, I just released 442 spirits around the person back and send them away. And by that time I was already hooked line, I was like, yes, Steve, we moved, like first I was like scratching my head at the beginning of level 1. By the time, the level 4, I was like, yes. And I'm very sad and I'm very happy. The physical connection, I never had that with him, but I had the spiritual connection with Steve, like I had with a lot of y'all here. And so it's like it's painful, but it's not suffering for me. To deal with his transition. I really still don't understand it, but I'm grateful for the spiritual connection that I still have with him, even though he's not physically here, because I didn't have that physical connection with him. But I'm gonna miss him in that way. But the spiritual connection that I have with him is like helping me to deal with like what I call the horrible beauty of God. And just pray you know, that on his journey, he's resting in peace and things of that nature. And it's tough and everything, but it's I'm trying to put it in words. It's like the connection that I have with him, my grandson, my cat, is beyond words. You know, it's like that connection is, it's hard to put it in words, even though he's going to be truly missed on Tuesdays. Like, you know, truly missed on Tuesdays. It's nothing to Brent, but part of the reason why I still sign up is because of Steve. I still, you the man, Brent, and all that, but I'm just saying, like, the Tuesday, Steve, it works for my schedule, being there and just having him just coordinate the group. It was like a tremendous amount of spiritual connection, spiritual awakening, you know, and that type of togetherness. So yeah, but you know, it was just, to me, it was like amazing. I'd be scratching my head like, how do you remove all these damn spirits? Like, you know, it was like, you know, it was like, and it was real too. It was like real because, you know, I actually seen him do it. The guy and I could not connect with the guy. It was something blocking. Steve did what he did. Walked in, he said there was one spirit in the room. He was free loafing. Steve walked us to the light, and the guy was able to go back to working. And that was amazing to me. That he had that special gift. On the spiritual level, he had that special human gift to like coordinate the whole Tuesday meeting. And it was, you know, he's definitely going to be missed, but I'm definitely going to cherish all the moments and experience that I had with him and I had through him with you guys.
Thank you, Melvin. All right, Roberta, you're up next. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, I did some one-on-ones with him, and he's just an incredible person. And I'm just going to reiterate what everybody else said, but I feel like he's with us right now, and I'm sure everybody else does. I didn't see him that much lately, but I did see him in a movement class not too long ago. But yeah, he was just an incredible person, such a gentle spirit and intuitive, and yeah, removing 442. It's amazing, like how did he do that? But anyway, I just wanted to say that, yeah, I'm gonna miss him a lot, as everybody else I know will, and can't believe he's gone. I mean, I know he's here. Actually, I feel like he's here, but he's gone to the other side. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Roberta. Is it Steph? Steph's got a message. Says, I love the way he spoke. He had a calmness about him. I love how he loved the material. He was patient, kind, encouraging, and supportive. He was incredibly knowledgeable and so generous, sharing his knowledge and time. I love his willingness to share and his openness. You don't often come across these qualities. He was a wonderful teacher. I wish I got to know him better. My condolences to his loved ones and all in this very special community. Thank you for that. Okay, Judy, you're up.
Hi, everybody. So good to see everyone. You know, just a shocking way to do so. I am really still in shock. I want to say something, and yet I am blank because I can't even believe that he's not here. I loved that man so much. He, you know, when him and John Kudajar were doing movement class. I went to a couple, and he would private message me, "You have to see me." And I was like, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. And the next week, "You have to see me. We have to do sessions together." And then I started doing sessions with him. And it was just a very beautiful experience because he got me. Like, I felt like I was God. I was gotten. Like, he understood me. He followed my pace. Like, I like everything slow, on the slow side. And I felt so understood, and as everyone said, safe. I felt so safe with him to say anything that I needed to say. And a lot of the times he related to me. And as he was doing work on me, he would say, "Do you mind if I do work on me too?" I'm like, no, 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 no. Go ahead. And I just could not wait to the next week to see him. And there were things that I would talk to other people about that, not that they didn't understand it. Maybe it was like, like, "Judy, get over it," or, but not like that, and I would tell him, and he's like, "No, you have this because you have, there are so many ancestral things, and there's so many this." And I'm like, "Thank you for telling me that." Like, I needed to know where all of this is coming from. And I learned so much just from him working on me. And there were times I tried to take notes, but I really just wanted to be in the flow. And I never told him this. And ironically, we just became Facebook friends a couple of weeks ago. And I never told him that I used to record all of our sessions. And like, one of our last sessions, he said, "Judy, I wish I had been recording all of these because we could write a book with." And I thought, oh my God, I got to tell him, because maybe we can write a book. I'm just so blessed. I really am so blessed because I have those videos and I can still see him. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I think that's about it. I'm just in such gratitude, the deepest gratitude to that man for helping me the way he helped me. Anyway, I'm just sending everybody tons of love and tenderness, and I hope everyone's good.
Thank you, Judy. Yeah, Steve was very good for that, wasn't he? He's like, "Oh yes, that's, you've got, all of these ancestrals and these souls are attached," and he was very good for that. And that must have been very relieving for you. Someone gets it. Thank you for sharing that. Vicky, you are up next.
Yeah, hi everybody. Nice to see you guys, but unfortunately not under these conditions. Yeah, so I just want to agree with everybody, especially with Melvin and the last person I just talked about this. It's like, so he wasn't shocked by anything. Actually, he would know and understand how to deal with like demonic entities and all these things. And he gave legitimacy to AD. Like, I know that all, Brent's work is awesome and I love Brent's work, but Steve gave like legitimacy because he was so serious and he was like patient, and he was the only person that understood whenever I would have like a problem where I would be doing a session with someone and they had like a demon, and I saw the demon and the demon did all this crap, and he knew exactly what I was talking about, but he could deal with that stuff. So now it's like, well, who is gonna answer those questions? Because it takes somebody with that special kind of skill to see these things. So, and with the bird situation, yes, I totally believe about the whole thing with the birds. That's one way, that I discovered communicating with the dead is through birds. So yeah, I believe Martina's story about the birds, Martina. That's awesome. That's probably a psychic skill you might want to, explore. And like Steve just really got it. He really, really got it. He'll be very missed. I'm gonna miss him a lot. So I just want to know like what he died from. Does anybody know?
It was
I,
the
I,
word that I heard was coronary embolism,
yeah,
which is clotting of the artery.
Wow.
it
So
was
sad.
it was
So sad.
probably the embolism. What had happened is after the initial surgery, a bunch of blood, a hematoma, grew around the surgery itself and created a tremendous amount of pressure on his spinal cord. And he lost feeling in his legs and his hands and was really quick back into the hospital in the emergency room. They drained the blood. And he was just, I'd spoken to him yesterday, and he was just feeling stronger, a little stronger, getting some, and of course, doing work on himself. Steve was the best self-practitioner I've ever met. It's always good working on himself. And he was making some headway with some issues with his right arm, or his left arm rather. And then what I suspect, and this is just conjecture on my part, is that some of that same bleed that he had from the surgery somehow got into the bloodstream and then made its way to the brain, and that's where the embolism came from, the blood clot.
But I wonder if there is now, I feel like, is there something we could have done? Because I recall there was an email going around last week where I thought we were all going to kind of get together and send him healing energy. Could we have just dissolved it? Like, I feel kind of guilty now.
Well, we didn't know about that at that point, but we got together and sent him all the love he could handle. And he felt it. I checked in with him. We did a lot of good work coming together, I thought. But
All right.
Wasn't meant to be.
I guess not.
Yeah.
Well, he'll be missed. I'll miss him.
Oh,
Now, who am I going to ask all the crazy questions about demons to?
Right.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vicky.
Mhm.
So Kathleen writes in the chat, yeah, Steve embodied the divine masculine, so sorely needed in our world. How lucky are we to have had this beautiful man in our presence and lives. May he continue his great works from the great beyond. I so appreciated and loved how you could show up messy and leave knowing you had been heard. I'm sorry, that you could show up messy and leave knowing that you had been heard, loved, and unconditionally and healed. I don't think I still got that right, but that was close. Heard, loved, unconditionally, and healed. There we go. More from Angela. Steve never made you feel like you were a burden on his time. He would change course and explain the answer to your question. He would take time. Always made you feel like your question or comments were relative. Relative. Okay. So, Rebecca, your hand is up. I was just about to call it. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Just sending everyone so much love. I probably was just in the last Awakening Dynamics Level 1 workshop, and yeah, so obviously I've only known Stephen for a short time, but the impact that he had was just tremendous. And he, would send me all his cheat notes and shortcuts, and he was just so incredibly generous with his time. And I did a movement class with him and John, which was just invaluable. And he just had that knack of just going straight to the issue with no fluff. And as everybody was saying, he could see you, and he could touch you in a way that was just so profound. yeah, and just what an amazing person and what an inspiration for us all to embody those aspects and keep that part of him alive through us as in the community is just so special. And I just felt that he was he loved it and he was love. He embodied love in all aspects, and he loved this work and walked the talk unassumably and wasn't ever asked. You could just see it was just so genuine, and he was so unassuming. Just an incredibly special person and a real privilege to have known him for the little time that I have, but the impression, and it just goes to show, I'll carry him with me forever. And it was just in that fleeting moment of connection, and just how powerful that is when you embody the love that we all are. So just sending so much love and support to everyone in this community, because he's touched me in such a short time, so I can only imagine what the rest of you are feeling at the moment. So sending you all just so much love. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Rebecca. Kathy Taylor. Hello.
Hi. I met Steve about 8 years ago in the practice group when there was no Zoom. As Maury said, it's been a long journey with him. He and I and others became co-hosts of the practice group on Tuesday nights for quite a while. And he and I did private sessions together weekly. His insights and his way of using synergy on all of the modalities of which he was privileged to have learned something about made him the special person and healer that we all got to know and love. He will be missed, but he is still with us. And his teachings came to us in ways that we will be embodying and sharing with others as we move forward. I'm so glad that so many people are here with us today, sharing our highlights of how he impacted us in our lives. And as we move forward, we will be thinking about him and what he taught us and how that makes a difference in our lives and therefore the lives of other people that we will touch. I thank you all for being here. I thank John for organizing this event. I thank Carl for the outreach that he made in the last week or two. And I look forward to anybody who wants to reach out. If I can help you, let me know. And thank you, thank you, thank you. May he rest in peace.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, I got Martina's video. Yay. We can watch the video now. I think this is a good way to wrap this up. The video is 1 minute, and then I'll show the picture to Stephen. So, or maybe I'll show the picture to Stephen first. I'll do that one first. So Martina, can you come on and tell us, where was this at the church?
So this was when after I went in and saw all the birds in the church, and I stepped back out and saw this plaque for Steve with his name. So that was very special because it just confirmed that I had actually got a sign from him.
Okay, and now I will go to the video that you did. So let's go to that one. Where'd it go? There we are. I don't know if there's going to be sound on this. I don't think we need it. Here you go. And you can narrate if you like, Martina.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is in a botanical garden. So I didn't expect a church in a botanical garden. And I walk in and then see all the birds. All the walls are covered in birds. Different colors. Like ceilings, walls, everything is covered in birds. And it was just like 1 hour after I heard from Steve that he would send me birds. I've never seen a church like this in my whole life. So very, very special.
Martina, do you remember what a hummingbird means to the Incans? Because these are all hummingbirds.
I don't remember.
Messenger.
And then there's this, yeah, there's this white dove, the skylight.
Peace
Sorry,
dove.
I interrupted you.
The peace
Yeah.
dove.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the dove of peace. No, the hummingbird was the messenger between the different levels of life, the underworld, our world, and heaven, because they could fly forward, back, and up and down. And I haven't seen any other bird other than that dove. Everything is a hummingbird here. That's kind of cool. It wasn't just any bird. Yeah, Steve, baby. Good job. Oh.
And
Yeah,
then
interesting. Real quick, Kathy said rest in peace. And what occurred to me is he lived in peace.
Yeah.
So again, we were all blessed to know him.
Go ahead, Martina.
Yeah, I lost my train. Sorry.
Okay. So I got, there's a message from Tracy in the chat. He was such a lovely, gentle, humble person and a true healer. He was so dedicated to helping, and I will miss learning from him. I send love and condolences to his family and all who loved him. And as Carl said, Sandra wrote in the chat too, the hummingbird as the messenger between the levels of life, the different worlds. And thank you for that video, Martina. I agree, Shilpa. Thank you for that. Okay. I will, oh, Sheila. Oh, okay, more. Go ahead, Sheila.
So I was fortunate to 2020 get involved with AD and meet Stephen because Brent encouraged me to try out his practice group. It wasn't really at a time that was best for me, but I tried it out. And yeah, I mean, Stephen was just a gift. It's such a gift. Every moment that I got to have with Stephen that I didn't realize such a gift until he's gone, of course. Just being around Stephen was a gift. Every time that we got to see him, it was a gift. He was such a gift to everybody he met, at least in Awakening Dynamics anyway. And we were close friends. It was really great. If I really needed him for something on great occasion, I actually called him. So yeah. And I have plenty of stories, but yeah, I'll keep those.
Thank you, Sheila. I got a message in the chat. Janosch, he says, I met Steve even before undergoing any AD training when he performed some healing on me about 2 years ago. I thoroughly enjoyed the healing sessions, the training, and other interactions with him. Meeting, learning, and following his teachings were truly enriching experiences. The time spent with Stephen was particularly rewarding. While we will greatly miss Steve, his references and influence in the healing domain continue to resonate with us. I treasure all his presentations, notes, and guides. The fact that so many of us remember him fondly demonstrates that Steve positively impacted numerous lives. Very nicely put, Janosch. I hardly concur. Okay, Joy, you're up next.
I just wanted to, I saw the note, any chance of sending Steve's consciousness our deep love and thanks as a group all at once, and our support as he integrates into the larger consciousness. That was what I wanted to do too tonight, if we could. So just as a group, just send him, yeah, drop in, send him our love and hold that space.
We will do that. So I will stop the recording now, and then I will restart it again, as we will do, we will send him support energy, loving energy in his transition. We will all do that for him. I will end this recording, and then we'll have a separate recording that will be us doing that for him.
Jared wants to say something.
Who's that? Go ahead. Oh, yes. Gotcha.
I just had a thought. I've been crying for a long time. I was thinking that if the group wants, we could rename the cheat sheet to Steve's cheat sheet. Because so many of us.
It's a way to honor him, but it also negates the fact that the cheat sheet, the practice group guidelines, were created by Matthew Butcher. So I don't suggest it.
Okay, that's fine. That makes sense. Oh, Steve definitely touched me. I appreciated him.
Of course.
Much love. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jarrett. Okay. Well,
please let Brent speak.
Oh, Brent wants to speak? I don't know that he wanted to, but if you want to speak, go ahead.
Wouldn't say I wanted to, but I'm happy to if the group wants to hear from me.
If you want to speak, go right ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, try to keep it quick. You know, it's kind of cliche, but Steve was one of the best people I've ever known. I mean, you know, I think it was, you know, a great honor to be able to work with him. And it's really rare to find someone that is not only skilled and dedicated, but also easy to work with and humble. And Steve was all of those things, you know. As you guys know, I've been teaching this work for a long time. And, you know, Steve was one of those people when he said, hey, Brent, I'm going to do the practice group, or hey, Brent, I'll teach intuition on Saturday. I didn't have to give it another thought. I knew it would be done well, and would leave a positive impact. And, you know, fact is that a lot of you guys are only here because of Steve. You know, that Steve showed up at pretty much every level 1, every level 4, every level 2, level 3 when we did them, and always gave a really awesome testimonial. So that's why I say a lot of you guys wouldn't be here, you know, without Steve stepping up and going, hey guys, you know, this is my experience with Brent and Awakening Dynamics and all the things that have happened. And, you know, his shares were really powerful, really compelling. You know, it's going to be a challenge for all of us to move forward without him. Because, you know, I know that from past experience, nobody's going to be able to be Steve. And that's just how life works, right? There was a time when I tried to be Terry, and that didn't work very well because I'm not Terry. I'm far from the only person that tried to be Carl. I could give you at least a dozen people off the top of my head that tried to be Carl. And they all failed. Why? They're not Carl. So, you know, I'm hoping that we can draw the positive lessons and, you know, find a way to move forward. Part of the metaphysics that I've learned over the years is that it's kind of funny. In Dungeons and Dragons, they have this saying that you can kill Orcus, the demon prince of the undead, but an Orcus-like being will evolve to take his place. And I found that's a real principle for life. That, I'm hopeful that even though Steve is not with us in body, of course he'll be with us in spirit. And, in the same way that, having taught classes, I've taught 200 some classes over 20 years. There's almost always someone that's really annoying, right? There's always someone that's really withdrawn and reserved. There's like a handful of archetypes that show up in almost every class. And it isn't the same person every time. So I'm hopeful that, that'll support us and someone will be able to step up and bring some of those qualities, that Steve can't be replaced. But, whoever it is that, is going to take over Tuesdays and help me teach and do private healing sessions and all these amazing things that Steve did, I'd like to think Steve's there supporting us and giving us a little boost and, helping us to fill in what's missing. So, I've always tried to take pain and do something with it. Because if you just sit there and let it eat you alive, that doesn't help you. It doesn't help Steve. It doesn't help your family. So I'll encourage everyone, take the pain, take the grief, and let's see if we can find something useful for it. Do something in Steve's name. Someone mentioned writing a book. Maybe you make a video, or who knows, could be anything, right? Start a TikTok channel. But, take that pain, see if we can turn it into something positive, whatever that is. And, he's going to be missed. That, I don't know what Awakening Dynamics will look like without him, because he's been such a big part of the community, so that he's been, along with John Cuttajar. I think you guys are the two that have been with me since the beginning of Awakening Dynamics over 10 years ago. And it was January 2014 that it got unleashed on the world. So almost exactly 10 years later. And, if there is need, I'd be happy to arrange, more practice groups or healing sessions or whatever it may be. And, if I think the most important thing is that we stay in touch and communicate and support each other. That certainly, if someone wants to partner with John to keep doing 81.5 or the Sunday sessions, just let's accept up front, you'll never be Steve, so don't try. Just be you. And trust that that's the right thing. Otherwise, the creator wouldn't have put you in the position of stepping in, right? I struggled a lot after Carl died. I'm like, oh God, how am I going to do all the things Carl did? The answer is really simple. Some of them actually came to me literally magically, but that's a whole nother story. Don't want to get off topic. Just be you. Don't try to be Steve. Don't try to be Brent or John or Carl or any of the people you see here. Just show up and be you and trust that that's going to be the right thing. And yeah, it's hard to think of someone that was just an overall just better person. And, it's been rough for me today. I got the news right after I got home from taking my son to school. And that was kind of it for getting anything productive done for the rest of the day. But my heart goes out to his wife more than anything. I can't imagine the pain she's in. So, I'm going to be sending her unconditional love. I'm not sure if it's wanted or welcomed, but, I want to do what I can. And I've been in touch with Annette that, I would really like to get together and we can all pitch in and send, a nice big bouquet of flowers or something for his funeral. So, anybody that wants to be part of that, just get in touch. And, as soon as I find out more from Annette, I'll share it with you guys. So, but yeah, he will be missed for sure.
Okay, thank you, Brent.
Thank you, Brent.
Right, and I will, does anybody have anything else to say? We'll stop the recording now. If you do, jump in. If not, okay, I'll end this now. and I will start the recording again. But before I do, how long do you think we should go? 2 minutes, 5 minutes for support energy? We're going to support his family, all of his surviving family members, send them unconditional love, support energy, and support Stephen in his transition as well. Right? 5 minutes
John,
sound
how
good?
about also support to each one of us at the same time?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thought too, and to us as well. We all want it ourselves, so send it to
Yeah.
us, send it to them.
I was just going to send it to everyone affected by Stephen's passing.
Okay.
You know, his
That's
wife
good.
obviously being number one on the list, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all of us, you know, his other friends, family, colleagues.
He has 3 dogs. They have 3 dogs.
Okay.
I'd vote for more time than not. 10 minutes wouldn't be wrong here.
Okay.
And everybody stay on gallery so the whole community, the energy is flowing between each of us because Steve's here with all of us. And he's issued a challenge as evidence from what Martina got, which is I've only moved to a different level. I'm still here. Your job now is to connect with that other level. That's what we're all about. We're going to get there someday, but he's willing to reach out to us so we can reach back to him. And we're just going to get better from it. He'll keep teaching.
Right. I've started the recording again. We will send support energy to everyone affected by Stephen's passing and support to Stephen in his transition. And we will set the timer for the next 10 minutes. I'll set the timer and we can begin. We can begin now. It has been 10 minutes. You may feel free to continue if you wish. Or come back when you're ready.
I want to share a quote with Gandhi from the group that Gandhi once said, "Live as if every day is your last. Learn as if you will live forever."
I think that's a very good way to close this. I'm going to stop the recording on my end.